everyone, it's Chanel Summers here.
Hello everybody, Jackie Graves, nice to meet you.
Hey everyone, Megan Secord here, and we are The Collective.
Good morning, good afternoon, I suppose, whenever this is being watched. My name is Shailene Panylo, so I'm a resident of Oshawa, as well as an activist and active community member here, as well as the previous federal representative for Oshawa's NDP. So yesterday is Blackout Tuesday. There's a little bit of speculation around who started it and the intention behind it. So you've got, I guess, sort of two sides. You've got the Black Lives Matter sides that we're really pushing for it to be used as an opportunity for people to be sharing resources while showing their solidarity. And you've also got those who are, whether you want to call them the white supremacists or the people who are trying to silence the Black Lives Matter movement, trying to use it as a way to flood the Black Lives Matter hashtag in order to distract protesters from being able to find crucial information that is keeping them alive and safe and well while they're protesting in various states. The stipulations for participating, as I'm sure all of our feeds were filled with black squares yesterday, along with, sometimes really nicely written captions, sometimes misusing the Black Lives Matter hashtag. As I said before, that's a crucial hashtag for keeping people safe on the road during the protests. So it was the incorrect hashtag to be using. But some people didn't know better and wanted to still show solidarity, or, we're calling some of it performative activism, right? People wanting to just be on trend and not be the one not doing anything, which is powerful in some ways, but in a lot of ways it did a disservice because the Black Lives Matter hashtag ended up being flooded with black squares, regardless of how many times people said, please don't use this hashtag. And so it did hinder in a lot of ways the people who are on the ground protesting. People have the best intentions, and I do continue to believe that, because there's been a number who've reached out to me personally, and so I don't ever think that people have bad intentions when they want to participate in things. I think maybe education needs to be at the forefront, and the voices that you're listening to, the sources where you're getting information, now more than ever are so crucial to keeping with the purpose and keeping with the allyship and supporting the voices that need to be amplified. If you're looking to get straight to the source, the Black Lives Matter official page, their page on Instagram, their page on Twitter, has been really, really great. In Canada and the GTA especially, we've seen it a little bit more active, but there's also an account called Not Another Black Life, and they have been incredible at making sure that protests happening across Canada in different communities and different capacities, resources, mental health supports for Canadians especially, have been really at the forefront of their activism. So making sure that as much as we're showing solidarity and support to our American brothers and sisters, that we're also taking care of the people at home here who are, on the front lines here. So those are definitely two that I would really recommend. Obviously, there are, people like me who directly try and share as much as I can and make it as accessible as I can. I think a really important thing for allies, especially non-Black allies, is to really try and amplify the voices of those who are Black. And what I mean is allow yourself to take up space in the sense of, I'm showing my solidarity. I stand with you. Here are some resources that people can go to learn more, to sign petitions, to get involved, to put some action behind their words. However, I will not engage in and detract from the voices that are at the forefront, trying to send strong messages across. So I think that's sort of the difference. And I really emphasize to people, no matter who you are and what you're trying to do, anytime that there is a group advocating for something, and you want to be an ally, it's not enough to just say, like, how can I help? I think we changed the conversation to be really, really great with saying, how can I help? What can I do? What do you need? Da, 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 da. That's one side of it. But also the other side is, do you need help? I think people often try to jump in with things like this trend of, posting a black square. And they did so with such commitment and vigor that it's admirable that we were all able to do something on such a large scale. But had we had the chance to answer that, do you need help? First, I think it would have been, yes, we need your allyship. Here's how. And then people all would have had the same information from the jump. And we wouldn't be, trying to put out fires saying, no, please stop using that hashtag. Please, put something in that post. Don't just do a black square. Put this resource here, repost this, So, and being supportive of saying, in the morning, I posted a black square. I was corrected later on in the day. I've now deleted that. And instead I'm posting these resources. I encourage you to spread this and do the same. So allowing people to learn and grow as the information becomes available. We're all, we're all adults, but we're all humans. We're all trying to do the best we can. And so people's opinions change when they get access to more information. And I think we also have to be understanding and sympathetic of that, especially for online things, because I don't think we've ever really seen, since the Me Too movement maybe, so many people come together in such a large mass of social media support. So I guess that would be my advice to allies. I've been very open with my story for a couple of years now, speaking about it. So I can give you the gist, but I don't want to bore anyone. So I grew up in Oshawa, predominantly. Shall I name drop? Maybe I'll name drop. So I started school at Vincent Massey Public School in Oshawa. So sort of not central, but central-ish before North Oshawa really started to grow and develop. So I was essentially the only Black person in a lot of my classes, but also in my years for a very long time while I was there. And the bullying was immense to the point that I didn't want to go to school. So in the middle of second grade, we actually moved to Bowmanville, and that was a completely different experience because I had thought Oshawa was bad, and then I went to Bowmanville. So, and it was an interesting experience as well, dealing with racism, some of it very overt and blatant, but also I have the language now, but microaggressions, right? Things that people would say, off comments that people would say. I didn't know what the N-word meant when I was first called it. So having to unpack that, and having also been adopted by a white family, having to explain to your racialized child what that means while never having experienced it yourself, like, it presented its own set of challenges. So my skin and my hair were a topic of discussion just about everywhere I went, and I was bullied relentlessly. And then in the 6th grade, I moved back to Oshawa, and I went to Pierre Elliott Trudeau Public School, and that was probably the most traumatizing experience of my life, because the racism that I faced there was not just at the hands of students. It was also teachers, and the things that they would say would shock you, and quite frankly have shocked a lot of people. And then going to the principal at the time to deal with that, I was told to grow thicker skin. So that is how even our institutions are dealing or not dealing with reports of racism, and that's reported racism. And I will emphasize that there are a lot of students who go through it silently and try to handle it themselves before they reach out for help. And so now I travel around and talk a lot about my mental health struggle within that, namely depression and dealing with suicide, because when you feel like you are carrying that burden on your own, and when one side is telling you to grow thicker skin, and you also don't want to, make people uncomfortable by talking about it, you do feel very isolated. And so Oshawa's come a long way since I hit high school, but there's still a long way to go. I would say for me, high school was better because I positioned myself in a place where I turned everything I'd gone through into forms of activism. Not everyone has the capacity to do that. And for some people, they faced racism in high school. And so I'm very cognizant of that it's not just a once you graduate, it magically goes away. It changes, it morphs. You see more microaggressions from teachers. You see more things that are concealed as jokes. And then applying to university, I went to U of T. How many Black students do you really come across in post-secondary institutions? And I think that's something to look into. The fact that U of T's medical graduating class of 2020 had one Black woman in it, and it's like 200 and something, and she was the valedictorian, but the fact that she was the only one is need for conversation. There is obviously an institutional failure that's happening somewhere throughout that journey, and that's just the education system. So I had my fair share, most definitely, and I'm sure it'll continue. These events recently it hurts so much because in every instance where you think you've gotten so far, I've now got youth from the Oshawa and Durham Region community sending me screenshots of things that their non-Black peers are saying, are posting, are voice noting, are putting on Snapchat that they've screen captured, and they're not sure what to do with it. Things that are blatantly racist, things that are blatantly oppressive. And it's just, you think you've gotten somewhere, you think you've made progress, and you see things like that, and it hurts me because the whole point of my activism was to ensure that I could be the role model for someone else who would be in my shoes, and that I could change it so that someone else didn't have to go through what I did. And we're still so far from that.